InArt Collectibles is under fire. Collectors are alleging that InArt has gradually reduced the substance of its offerings while simultaneously raising prices. Today we're going to analyze these allegations and determine if InArt's recent sales tactics are serving the needs of collectors or not. But before we get started, make sure to like the video down below, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so that way you're notified when content goes live here. That said, InArt Collectibles was once the community darling, but today we're going to find out if the recent criticism targeted in their direction changes things. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for joining me for another video today. Let's start, as we always do, with some context. For context, InArt Collectibles entered the collectible figure scene back in 2022 when they announced their Heath Ledger Joker figures. There was a 2-pack with rooted hair for $1,000 and sculpted hair versions that were $300. Since then, InArt has announced and released dozens of figures. Each of them vary in price, but quality remains consistently high. Fast forward to 2026 and the announcement of InArt's new Pennywise figure from Welcome to Derry Season 1, and collectors are sounding the alarms. The primary claim is that InArt is steadily increasing their prices, while simultaneously offering collectors less value. Some collectors are communicating often, a substantial amount actually, that InArt Collectibles is offering less premium figures, meaning more sculpted hair, less rooted hair figures, and less accessories while still charging collectors premium rates. Here's what I find to be accurate. What I find to be true, personally, is that yes, InArt Collectibles over time has gradually determined that they're going to provide less accessories to collectors than they otherwise once have. I mean, the economy is difficult. People are having a hard time being able to pay for their mortgage, their rent, their food, their gas. It's a very difficult time. So if InArt Collectibles is in some way able to somewhat reduce the price, even minimally, of their figure offerings and include less accessories that 80% of collectors are probably going to never use, I think that's a reasonable trade-off. Some collectors will argue that there's a proportional misalignment insofar as the prices are actually increasing and the figure qualities are actually declining. I don't find this to be true myself. I think InArt's figure quality has gotten higher and higher progressively, but I do find that the substance of the offerings in terms of how many accessories are being offered, yes, are being diminished from release to release. And I'm actually okay with this. Personally, I have never reviewed or owned an InArt Collectibles figure where I paused and reflected and said, I think this figure is missing some crucial accessories that should be included in the box. I think InArt is very deliberate about which accessories they're including, and I think they're also very reasonable in terms of projecting which accessories the majority of collectors are never going to ever interact with. That it could actually be overwhelming and detrimental to the enjoyment of the figure. And it also is just a matter of storage as well. If you have so many accessories, it takes up more space inevitably. I will happily take less accessories, a higher quality figure, as long as I have the accessories that I think are essential to that character. The other criticism that has been levied at InArt is that the display bases have become smaller. They're not so much the diorama display bases like you saw with the original Heath Ledger Joker and the jail cell diorama, or even the Pennywise with the dancing Pennywise diorama, or even the Harry Potter one with the Hogwarts backdrop that connected with Ron and Hermione actually. Those are pretty cool. I do think InArt has moved away from those diorama display bases because those are very expensive to produce. This is another revenue stream for InArt, and from a business standpoint, it makes sense. So yes, the criticism that InArt Collectibles is moving away from diorama display bases and more so in the direction of museums, streamlined display bases, yet charging you similar rates for them, I think that is a valid criticism. But it's not one that resonates with me personally, because I think spatial concerns are always a huge factor when you're making collecting purchasing decisions, and because of that, InArt Collectibles has decided to go with a more museum, less intrusive, less spatial commitment type of look. With so many great figures being offered, I think the market is headed in a direction where you can have a beautiful piece, but the display base isn't going to take up your entire display case. The second criticism being that InArt Collectibles is offering more sculpted hair standard tier figures instead of premium rooted hair figures that they were initially known for out of the gate. This is true actually, and I think there's many reasons for it. The reasons being that the world is changing very rapidly. The cost of living is dramatically increasing and wages are not proportionally increasing alongside it. Most people are really going to choose the necessities over the luxury purchases such as toys. So if InArt Collectibles can offer figures at a cheaper rate, produce more volume, volume, I think that's going to be a much wiser business strategy rather than creating premium rooted hair figures that a lot of collectors are just kind of priced out on. Also, from a practical standpoint, it's obvious that rooted hair figures just take far longer to produce. They are much more intricate and detailed, and they require a very delicate approach from the assembly line. And because of that, you're much more likely to experience QC problems, you're much more likely to experience delays, and customers get upset about that. And when it comes to shorter hair figures, I think we've learned that more often than not, the potential headache of rooted hair is not worth the upside of how realistic it's going to look. Most hairstyles look a little bit too voluminous on shorter hair characters anyway, or they're just simply one big block of hair where it's hardly even rooted at that point. At that point, you might as well just have a sculpted hair head sculpt, which I think InArt has realized and decided to, embrace instead of fight against. And I do understand that InArt Collectibles is not in the same tier of Hot Toys Collectibles when it comes to the application of the rooted hair. Hot Toys rooted hair has come with some serious durability concerns, and because of that, collectors have kind of sworn off the artisan line a bit. The hype has died down tremendously. And InArt Collectibles has been mostly actually pretty consistent, but at the same time, I do think there is a large portion of collectors that have started to sour a bit on rooted hair and the prices that come along with them. With concerns considering potential maintenance of the hair, maybe yours gets messed up in the box and the hairstyling's not quite right, or even the price considering the fact that they're probably $150 to $200 more just for hair alone, or maybe even durability concerns when it comes to like glue and other related issues in relation to rooted hair, and again, probably more QC concerns for InArt to have to deal with that's losing them money. We also simply just do not know the long-term durability of these rooted hair figures. We don't have any data to support either direction, and because of that, collectors could end up with frizzy messes on their shelf in 5 to 10 years, and we would not be the wiser. And because of that, I think a lot of collectors are becoming risk averse with the limited funds they do have to dedicate to collecting. The third claim is that InArt Collectibles is diminishing the quality of their offerings over time, and this one I think is patently false. Simply put, InArt Collectibles' quality, lead times, and QC concerns have never been in a better state. And because of that, InArt Collectibles is offering collectibles that have never been seen in the likes of the 6-scale license market. A product that is better than all other competitors in that marketplace is inevitably going to command a higher price point. And unfortunately, that's how any market works. So InArt Collectibles is probably going to command a higher price point as they have become known as the highest quality 6-scale figure offering on the market. And if people want their offerings that bad, they have the leverage to increase their prices. Now, there is a line to this because this is a market, this is a negotiation. It's an active negotiation that you don't even realize is happening. InArt Collectibles will have to determine whether consumers, the volume that they require, are deciding to purchase their figures at the prices they're asking for them. And if they need to adjust based on what the market's telling them, they will. A product is worth no more or no less than what someone is willing to pay for it. InArt's primary competitor is Hot Toys Collectibles, but we do have to be realistic about the fact that while Hot Toys produces amazing quality figures, they produce 9 times, maybe 10 times the offerings in a given year that InArt does. So because of that, Hot Toys is pretty clear about their mission to produce volume, quantity over quality, whereas InArt is producing maybe 10 figures a year to Hot Toys 90, they're produced on quality over quantity. It demands a different price point and a different presentation. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong that InArt charges you a certain price point. I'm saying that that's the reality of it. That's how markets work. And unfortunately, if InArt is producing bangers and people want them, then the prices are inevitably going to rise, and we just have to adjust to that. The fourth claim that I see often is that influencers push InArt, and because of that, make excuses for them. The claim that content creators or influencers are paid shills who are given free stuff by InArt and they just say whatever they need to say to get it, I find that one to be objectively untrue. Any content creator worth their salt should understand that telling the truth will always get you further in life. Trust is established through mutual trust. Deception is actively against my interests, and it's also against my ethics, and I believe is the case for many other content creators as well. Audiences and collectors in general are very intuitive. Treating them as if they can't discern right from wrong, lie from truth would be unwise as a content creation strategy. It's demeaning to your audience. Are there some content creators who may intentionally try to deceive you for their own personal gain? Of course so. But at the same time, again, I'm trusting you all to be intuitive, to understand and recognize who you want to believe, who you trust, and who you do not. Personal autonomy is big for me. So it's up to your individual determination to determine who you trust and who you do not, who you want to watch, who you do not, whose input you find valuable, and who you do not. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. That said, now it's time to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about the thoughts that I presented in this video, and of course, the accusations that have been levied against InArt Collectibles channels in recent months. And of course, if you like this video, click the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and of course, click the notification bell so that way you're notified when content goes live here. Before you get out of here, check out Will.Foxification on Instagram and TikTok, and WillFoxification's Man Cave on YouTube. So much short form content that you're missing out on if you are not following/subscribe on those channels. So definitely check that out when you're done here. Guys, thank you so much. I will catch you in the next video. Peace out. See you later. Bye.